Let's rapid fire some objections. You
Yeah.
down? Okay, cool. So these are the most common ones people want to know the answers to. So the classic, I want to think about it. Sounds good. Can I just think about this, get back to you in 3 or 4 days?
It depends on what you sell. So give me an industry.
I first sold lead generation training to real estate agents.
Okay.
Fun market. Good way to train
So
if you're a beginner.
It depends on the context.
Yeah.
If I had them open or not open. Let's just say I had them open. I'm going to say that to me again.
Well, define open and not open, because some people might not understand what you mean.
So openness, like I've got them to remove the mask. They've opened
Okay.
up emotionally.
Yeah.
Right. And they understand the consequences of not changing. I'm going to say it a little bit differently than if they've been like really, really closed off.
Let's assume open for this one.
Okay, let's do it. So say that to me again.
Man, it sounds good. Like, this sounds great. I just want to take a couple nights, think on it, and then maybe I can get your
John,
number.
You need to take a couple of nights to think about getting 3 times as more listings so you can stop losing $50,000 a month.
Well, I mean, it's obviously I want those results.
Well, why do you want those results?
Because my business hasn't been doing as good as it.
And why has your business not been good as it could be?
Because I don't have the right lead generation system in place.
So how's that going to change if you keep pushing this off?
Well, I agree. I just want to take some time to make sure this can work.
Why do you agree, though?
Well, I know I have to do something.
Why do you know you have to do something? Because a lot of people would say, I know I have to do something, but then they never do anything about it. Have you seen agents like that?
Yeah.
And where do they typically go?
Well, they don't do well.
Okay, and you don't sound like the type of person who doesn't want to stay not doing well. So what do you really want? What's going to put you in the best position for you to get an extra 3 listings a month, an extra $50,000 a month?
It's doing something. I just got to make sure this is the right thing.
Well, tell me why you getting 3 extra listings and $50,000 a month would be the wrong thing.
We say that again?
Tell me why you getting these extra listings would be the wrong thing for you. Because we all know where you're at right now is where. Is it the right thing or the wrong thing?
The wrong thing.
Why?
Because I don't have the right lead generation systems in place.
Okay, so if we still stay that person that keeps pushing it down the road, like a lot of agents do out there, and we keep pushing that out, how will this actually change?
It won't change.
Okay, and here's the thing, like, I'm sure it's not your real intention to keep this $15,000 in your bank account for the rest of your life and just hope and pray it stays there with inflation, right? I'm sure your real intention is to never have to worry about money again in your life, right?
Yeah.
So what's going to put you in the best position where you become the person who actually gets an extra $50,000 a month in your bank account?
Is probably doing it.
And I'm going to go through that. Now, I might have to reframe you 17 more times
Yeah.
before I get there.
So let me ask a few questions for the audience. Number one, some salespeople think that you maybe should never cut somebody off, but you cut me off several times. So
Interjecting. I'm interjecting. Well, hold on, John. What caused you to say that? See, the reason why I can do that and get away with it is because I've already built a gap in that conversation, like where they felt massive pain and have a fear of future pain. And I can get away with that because they trust me.
Because of the trust.
Because they trust me. Now, if I'm not very good at sales and like I've triggered the hell out of them the whole time and they've been closed off, is that going to work? No. But I'm not going to put myself in that position.
Yeah. I always like to say, let me pause you for a moment.
Yeah.
That's it's like very disarming in a way. Hold on is like another good one.
Another one you could do is like, yeah, sure. I mean, you can think about it for, a day, a week, a month, a year, 10 years, even 50 years. But where's that going to get you at the end of the day?
That's good.
So I could do that too. I could just be playful. And then, but where's that going to get you at the end of the day?
Also, the other thing I want to point out is you ended every single thing you said, basically, with a question, right? Why is that important?
Because so depending on what the question is, it gets into buy-in. Like you would say, well, they would do this. Like, why would they do that though? So that's behaviors, right? So a lot of salespeople will stop. They'll ask the question that I just asked, and they'll say, well, that agent they would do it, and then they'll just try to close. But hold on, why would that agent do it? And so now I have to get more buy-in, more commitment. Okay. Now depending on what they say, that the agent would do it because of that, and that. Right. And you don't, and like, notice how you said something like, you don't sound like the type of person who, because I got you to say like, oh, those agents out there never go anywhere. And then I came back and said, well, you don't sound like the type of person who never wants to go anywhere. Would I be right? So what's going to put you in the best position? Now I'm going in for the close again. If that doesn't work, then I'm going to come back and loop around with another frame. Here's the thing, because the thinking over objection, that obviously we all know that's not a real objection. They're not going to go think about anything.
Yes.
Nobody does that. They have some type of concern
Yes.
that what you're saying is not going to get them where they want to. So if I can find out what the real concern is, and then I help them overcome that concern, it's pretty easy. How do I do that? I got to get their guard down first.
Yeah.
So if I have an open person, I've already got their guard down, so I can get away with what I just did. If they're closed off, I have to do that a little bit more skillfully. I can't necessarily call them out yet. I might say, sure, that's not a problem. Yeah, you can call me back in a week, a month, a year, 10 years, 20 years,
Yeah.
I don't know, whatever you want to do. Just so I know, because maybe you can get back to me in a couple weeks, what was it that you were wanting to go over in your mind, just so I know what questions you'll have when we talk again?
Yeah.
A lot of times they'll say, well, and they'll tell me the concern. They're like, well, it's just a big decision. I need to see if we have the budget.
Yeah.
So now I don't have to stay and think it over. It's just a money objection. And now I'm going to go there.
Right. So you know what's interesting? I suppose, see, intuitively, I know what you're saying, because if I have somebody who I've really connected with, the first approach you did was a little bit more, I wouldn't call it steamrolling, but it's kind of more steamroll-ish,
and you
right?
can do it.
So intuitively, sometimes I'll break my own rules and I'll do that. My standard, though, is to do actually what you just did, which is, hey, no problem. And then what I do is I assume, no problem, I can disarm them.
You get the guard.
And then what I do is I say, and let's just take the decision off the table for a second. Think about what we talked about. We talked about step 1, step 2, step 3. So ultimately you could get result. And so I have no problem with you wanting to think about it, but what do you think is keeping you from being less than 100% certain that that is actually going to work?
Yeah, because now you're going to get the real concern.
Because that reveals what the real concern is. And the reason I ask it like that
That's good.
is I think about it, and then I basically convert it to, I almost mishear it as you don't think it's going to work. And so I spit that back out of them. And guess what? A lot of times what they either get the real objection or, oh, no, I do think it's going to work.
Hold on. Why do you feel like it's going to work?
Oh, yeah.
No, when they come back and say that.
Yes.
I do think it's going to work. I'm going to say, well, why do you feel like it's going to work? I'm instantly going to take them back in the feeling side. Why do you feel like it's going to work? So I'm going to get them well, I feel like it's going to work because of this, this, and this. And depending on what happened in that conversation, then it depends on what frame I'm going to use next. But that just, you did well. First of all, you have to disarm them to get their guard down. So if they've been kind of surface level with you, that's the approach I'm going to take. If I've got them really open, I can be really direct with those frames, and they'll just go with it.
Yeah.
Because they already trust me. And once again, it also depends on what you sell. For sales training, we just look them in the face. We're like, how many of your prospects give you that same objection? They're like, and I'm like, well, what do you say to them? Well, I say, blah, blah, blah. Well, how many of those actually buy from you? Okay, so what do you feel like I should say to you? And a lot of times, let's just do it.
Yeah.
But I can get away with that in sales training. I can't do that if I'm selling cabinets.
It's like fourth wall selling.
Yeah. It's like,
some entrepreneurs
I'm
you
here
can
with
get
you.
that with too.
Yeah, exactly. You can do that with some business people. If they're small business owners and salespeople, you obviously, if you're selling flooring, you're not going to say that to the prospect. So it really depends on the industry.
If you're enjoying this conversation and you want to be in a room of people who are just like the people I have on this podcast, so you can ultimately network with the highest level people in the industry and up-level your business, you should fly out to meet us in Scotland at the end of July. So this is a one-time opportunity where you can get a ticket to actually be able to come if you qualify to network and get content and ultimately work with me and my team and so many other high-level speakers in the industry in Scotland at the end of July. So you have to be doing at least $100,000 a month in your business to qualify. If not, don't bother with it. But if that's you and you're trying to scale to 10 million or even 20 million or 100 million a year, there's other people in the room who have done that. And the speakers I'm going to have in Scotland have done that too. So check out the link in the description and see if you qualify. And if you do, book a call with my team. We'll talk about the ticket price to be able to come. This is the only time you're going to be able to do this. So take advantage of it. Now back to the podcast.
Okay, let's do a coach, let's say, who's coaching business owners, whatever. And let's go, this sounds really good. I definitely want to do it. I just need to talk with my wife before I do this, and then maybe we can follow up.
How does your wife feel about you scaling your business to $10 million a year?
Oh, she's very supportive.
Why? Because a lot of spouses aren't.
Oh, yeah.
They don't
I
believe
just-
their spouse could actually do it.
I picked a good one. She's always been supportive with what I've done. Just
Yeah.
we have a shared bank account, so I just want to make sure that she doesn't see 10 grand leaving the bank account, and then
Yeah.
Because
Because in reality,
kick me in
like
the
if
butt.
you went to her right now, because how does she feel about you losing? You're talking about 500 grand a month right now. How does she feel about you losing 500 grand a month simply because you don't have the right leads yet?
Well, she's stressed about it because she sees me stressed.
So is she more stressed about you losing $500,000 a month, or would she be more stressed about you investing $10,000 into your business where you now get to $10 million a year?
Yeah. Well, I just think
Like if you thought about it, which would cause her more stress?
the 500 grand.
Why?
Well, it's a lot more money.
Yeah. And how many months are we going to keep pushing it down the road where we keep losing 500 grand a month? Are you okay with me saying that?
Can I stop you for a second?
Yeah.
So, did you know that you really interjected right when I was about to give you an answer you didn't want? Mm-hmm. So why did you do that?
Because I could tell by your tone, like you were starting to go down a negative path, and I could tell by your facial expression.
Yeah. Talk more about that. That was good. It's so funny. I do the same stuff. It's like, because it's almost like there's always like these parallel universes all the call can go on.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I got to keep it on the track I want to keep it on. And sometimes it's just like, you have to interject it.
Anytime somebody says,
That was good, though.
Really,
You got it
I really,
fast. I was like, dang.
Dude, I had an 18-year sales career.
Yeah.
I saw a lot of prospects. That's why a lot of people that like start their own sales training companies after like selling for 6 months, I'm like, you don't know enough yet. You haven't talked to enough prospects. You can't, like, it takes a lot of people to talk to before you really, and I'm like trained in this stuff, like trained to like see it, but like if I only sold a year and I started my own sales training company, like I wouldn't know anything because I don't have all the wisdom and experience of that just right there of what I just did.
Yeah.
Because I've talked to so many prospects, I can tell when somebody says, I really want to do this, what that means.
Yes.
It's never been like, I really want to do this, where do I pay? Like that's not, this sounds great. I really want to do this. Does anybody say this sounds great with this tone? This sounds great. I really want to do this. So where do I pay? Like nobody says that with that
the
tone.
butt's coming.
I know the butt's coming, so
Yeah.
I'm going to interject. Hold on. Why do you feel like you really want to do it? So I can already tell I know what's going to come.
Yeah.
But it's like, man, I have to do this. Like, I know I need this. Like, and I'm going to wait because that tone, more certainty in their tone, tells me that I'm going to get that maybe closer to the answer that I want to.
Yeah, that was good. That's one of those things that you only can really learn from experience in some ways.
Mm-hmm.
It's very hard to teach that through a Google Doc, a script. Very hard to be like, if tone looked like, it's like
Well, that's
very
a
hard
lot
to
of
pick
times
up for a
our
beginner.
reps, because I do a training call, the last like 7 months, I started doing a couple of training calls a week for my reps and stuff rather than some of our trainers. So I was like, yeah, I got to teach these guys how to really sell. Our conversions were like 39%. I'm like, we got to get to 50. Like there's like, our brand is big enough because we're looking at some of these calls, we're like 15% of the people that show up buy no matter what the rep says.
Right.
They could be like my 7-year-old daughter and they're ready to pay.
Right.
Like our conversion should be higher. And so a lot of the reps in the beginning were like, well, Jeremy, like, where should I use that frame? And I'm just like, you might not use it at all. It just depends on the context. Like there's no straight jacket interpretation. Like after they say this, you're always going to use this frame.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, but if you teach them like the principles and the psychology behind it, that's when they have flexibility, know what to do. But it just takes a lot of times experience, like our reps will be like, man, I'm collecting 300 grand a month. Like when am I going to get to, 800 grand a month? I was like, it's just going to take time, man.
Yeah.
Like you literally have been here for 6 months. Like it takes time.
Let's do one more.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. So, this sounds, this is the best option I've heard so far.
Hold on. Why do you feel like this is the best option, man? Is that what you say to everybody?
Well, yeah, sometimes.
That could be trouble. But seriously, why do you feel like this might be the best option?
Well, so far, out of everybody I've spoken with, this is the best thing that I've heard. I like how you guys focus on tonality and sales training and, mindset around the reps and
Why do
disarming
you
based
feel
questions.
like your reps need that?
Well, they're not doing it right now.
Yeah. So what happens if they don't get that today?
Well, here's the thing. is
See, I'm going to try to cut that off just because I
know.
hear it.
I couldn't even give the
I
objection.
know, I couldn't give the objection.
I was
Give
like-
me the
I was
objection.
like, man.
Give me the objection this time.
Okay, so I was like, damn it, I couldn't even fucking get
That's
the
objection prevention. You just cut the objection off first.
You just cut it off.
That's what I mean by
I was like,
you just
Jesus,
cut them
man.
off. Go ahead.
The best option I've heard so far, I just want to talk with one other company on Monday and then make a decision from there.
Yeah, sure. What are you, you can always get back to me in a week, a month, a year, I don't care. What are you hoping that other company's going to say?
Well, maybe that they're as good as you guys and they're for less price.
Do you think they're going to say they're worse than us?
Well,
What,
no.
What salesperson says they're worse than the other salesperson? Have you ever met one of those? They always say what?
Oh, they're the best.
Yeah, so
But-
obviously what do you think they're going to say?
They're going to think they're the best.
Yeah, now you said something about cheaper. So is like the cheapest price the most
Well, I was
important?
just kind of being,
Well-
I was kind of being funny, but I just want to see what they have to
You
say.
are- Yeah, for sure. I'm just going back to the price though. Like, is the cheapest price the most important thing
No,
to you, or
no.
actually like the skill level where you get to $20 million a year?
I want to make sure it's working
Why?
because, whether it's 10K or 20K, I mean, the results are going to be, 10X that if
Yeah.
it works.
Yeah. So let's say you go to this other company, and let's say that you feel like they can generally solve some of the same problems that you're having now, and let's say the price points are somewhat similar. I mean, how would you then decide who to go with?
Well, I guess I'd have to sit down and look over the proposals and
Well, the proposals are going to be all fancy and good. I can send you a fancy proposal, but in all reality, what's you see all that? What's going to cause you to feel like who you should go with at that point? You can tell me. We're on the same team.
yeah, I guess just intuition.
What does your intuition say right now?
That's probably you guys.
Why?
Yeah, I mean, as I kind of wanted to just make sure I made a good decision,
I mean, look, we all know people out there that just, and I'm not saying you're this type of person. The person says one day I'm going to do it, or I'm going to do a lot more research, or, your business. How many of your prospects say that to your sales guys? Like, I'm going to do more research. I'm going to talk to a bunch more companies. And, where do they typically go?
they just don't do anything.
Yeah. And you don't sound like the type of person who doesn't want to do anything.
No,
So what do you really want?
I want to do it. So
So I might go there. It
break
just
down
depends.
break down that track for me real fast.
Oh, there was
good.
a lot of nuances there. Where do you want me to start?
I mean, it was like a slippery slope. So I don't know. I guess at the beginning.
Oh, God. So the first one, when I cut you off, I can already tell by your facial expression and your tone that an objection's coming. So the first thing I'm going to, well, hold on. Why though? Why do you feel like it's the best option though? So I'm going to because I want them to tell me why it's the best option, and more importantly, tell themselves.
And again, it redirects that path. Like they're going down a path, you can kind of see it, and it just
I'm redirecting that path. Now, that doesn't mean, like 99% of the time, they're still going to come back to the objection. But what I'm doing there is I'm trying to take them from, it's usually the price or the cost, right? I want to take them from that price or cost-based thinking to focusing back on the results. So that's why I go there first. They're
Makes
like, well,
sense.
the reason why is we have to have the tonality. We want to get to 10 million. So now I'm starting to reframe their mind back into the end result. Okay. And now they're going to come back usually and still say the objection, but now I'm starting to reframe them into that result, which gives me more leverage. Remember, I'm not doing this to them. I'm doing this for them so they overcome their bullshit stories and they can have what they want, And so the second time, when you said that, what did I say? You said you wanted to go look at some different companies. I just agreed. I'm like, yeah, that's not a problem. You can come back in a week, a month, doesn't really matter. What are you hoping that company's going to say to you? So by you answering that, it's not all the time, but most of the time, your answer is going to kind of tell me what's holding you back with me. Maybe they might say, "Well, I just want to see what options they have, what their price points are." So I'm like, "Okay, cost is an issue right in their mind." That tells me that, okay. And whatever they say there, now they might come back and say, "Well, I just always look at different options." Oh yeah, for sure. What are you hoping those options show you? So I'm just like, they just didn't give me an answer. I'm like, oh yeah, sure. Like, what are you hoping those options are going to show you? I'm just literally like loop back around and re-ask the same question a different way.
Yeah.
Until I get you to open up.
Yep.
And so you told me, you said, I just want to, what did you say? I want to compare things.
I just want to, dot my I's and cross my T's or whatever.
Cross my
it is.
T's, see what they're, if they're cheaper. You said that, I heard that word. So I mean, like, so I immediately went to like, I'm going to try to get the cost thing. So is the cheapest. So I always like really, even if they say, I want to look at a lower price or I just want to compare prices, I'm automatically going to say, so is the cheapest. Cheap sounds bad. And most people don't like the cheap.
It's correct the record thing again.
So I'm going to reframe them again. Like, so is the cheapest price the most important thing to you, or actually like scaling your company to $10 million a year? So that's taking them out of price or cost-based thinking to the end result.
Yeah,
again.
and even with your body language, what you're doing is I don't even know if you did this intentionally, but you're separating their option versus your option like this.
This is the bad option.
Yeah.
This is what you want.
Yeah,
So
it's
I'm
almost like
reframing
the
them
whole,
again.
when you're selling from stage, like they point to the doors, kind of
It's the
reminds
same
me of
thing.
that.
It's the same thing. So even if I'm on the phone, I'm still doing that because that affects my tone. If I just sit there like this, it's not going to come out the same. So is the cheapest price the most important thing to you, or getting XYZ result? So it's like, well, of course we want the result, but why though? Most salespeople, like, they'll copy my comparative frame, but they don't know how to go 3 steps further because they're not in our training. Hold on, why though? Notice how my tone goes down. Hold on, why though? Boom. And they'll tell me why, or they might waffle again, and I'm just going to loop back around. And then what did I do to tie it off there? I don't remember.
I don't remember either. But what I
It just came out.
But what the one thing I think that a lot of people can take away from this is that clearly a lot of times is just a buyer defense mechanism, and they don't even know why they're saying it. So when you start pushing on it with questions with the right tonality that don't put their guard up even more, it just kind of falls apart.
It just kind of falls apart.
They're just kind of like, I don't even know what the fuck I'm doing.
We should just do it.
It's like, they're just like, I guess like I don't even know why I said that.
It
It almost breaks them out of like, they're kind of in like almost like a hypnosis in a way.
It's
and
exactly why I taught our
breaks them out of
salespeople to do that first. If we're training a sales, if we're talking to a salesperson or even a company, literally I train them the first thing to do is like, how many of your prospects give you that same objection? They'll be like, a lot of it. Yeah. And what do you say to them? And a lot of times they're like, let's just do it. Because they're like, this is stupid. Why am I making this objection? Literally, like you just said. But it depends on what you're selling, how you can actually do that. But it's having that playful tone, like getting their guard down. But then sometimes I can't stay playful all the time. It's got to get more serious because I'm like concerned about the consequences if you don't do this. So the reason why that people don't understand why they are pushing off is because the brain was only built for us to survive. It was never built to thrive, to keep us safe. So anytime there's something new or there's something unknown to the brain, we look for external validation to want to push it down the road. That's why we say we want to talk with our spouse. So if it doesn't work out, the spouse won't blame us. That's why we say we need to talk with our financial advisor, because if it doesn't work out, it wasn't our fault. So it's external validation. So our mind feels like it's safer to keep pushing it down the road, which we all know pushing anything down the road is very unsafe.
Yeah, and it's also actually mentally exhausting because most people live their lives with hundreds of open loops. I always thought, I try to train my brain to just close the loops as soon as possible because it's actually mental baggage.
It's so true.
That weighs on you.
Yeah, it's stressful. For sure. It's like being in a relationship and you're like, I shouldn't be in this relationship, but yet you keep staying in the relationship so you don't hurt somebody else's feelings, or you really like their parents, or you like their sister or something, like their friends, and like you don't want to hurt them, so you just stay. But it's like you got to close the loop.
Yeah, it's a lot of times all the baggage that weighs on you throughout your life is usually in direct correlation to the lack of hard conversations that you haven't had yet.
So true.
If you enjoyed that clip and you want to see the entire episode, click right here.